Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Arcane Season 1, Episode 1. I'm super excited to finally be getting into Arcane, seeing what all of the hype is about. So full transparency, I did see like the first 10 minutes of episode 1, but I really don't remember what happened. All I remember was there were these two sisters who were like orphans. My friend had tried to show us the show one night, but we were all just too tired to watch it, so we watched like the first 10 minutes and then went to bed. So my memory of it, like, I can't remember a thing about it apart from the sisters. I think one of the main characters' name is Jinx. That's about it. I don't really know what the show is about other than that it's kind of actiony. I've never played League of Legends, so I don't really know much about that side either. I just know that it's a game. I think there's like some kind of fantasy elements. This, like, just from the images I've seen of it, it seems almost like steampunky. Of course, if you've been following the channel, you know I love animation, and this has a really cool art style. It looks 3D animated, but it looks like the textures are almost watercolor. It seems really cool, a really cool art style. So I'm really interested to see that in motion because I've heard the animation here is really great. And of course, I've heard the Imagine Dragons song that is like the opening. I don't think that spoils much. That everyone wants to be my enemy. You know, that was huge on TikTok and everything. So of course, I've heard that. So before we get into this, be sure to check out the Patreon. Over there you can find early access. I'm planning on uploading this when I'm quite a few episodes ahead, so I'll probably be on episode 4 or 5 by the time this hits YouTube. So if you're interested, check that out. You can also find full-length reactions in case there's anything I cut out for the YouTube edit that you wanted to see. You just sync up your own footage, and there's also polls so you can vote for upcoming shows once I finish. So yeah, let's just jump right in. That's cool. Is that like a record? Is it going to start playing the song? Okay, it looks like some of this is hand drawn as well. That was cool, some of the sketches of that explosion as the impact frames. It's quite a common trope, having like the juxtaposition between the violence and the child singing, so a war or something. Yeah, I'm loving there's like sketches over stuff. These are the two sisters, right? Is someone friendly? He looks like he's going to help them. Their parents? The music here is really good. You know, you don't even need to hear the characters talk. You know exactly what's happening. Just the somber music over top. Really digging this colour scheme as well. Of course, there's a big fire, so it's just washed in this red. And he's dropping his weapons. Is he like renouncing violence a bit there? And he's gonna take them in. Yeah, here it is, enemy. This is cool. It looks like they're statues in the opening. Oh, the misery. Everyone wants to be my enemy. Yeah, it's a good song. Everybody wants to be my enemy. See, that looks like the two sisters fighting there. So is there a fallout happening? I believe this is the origin for one of the villains in the game, but I'm not like 100% sure on that.
Hey, Powder! Come take a look.
Powder, her name, or like a nickname? They're incorporating 2D and 3D, 2D textures a bit. Yeah, it's a really effective way to do it. They do it in Spider-Verse and Mitchell's vs. the Machines. It's a great way of combining the styles.
All right, everybody, follow me. Just don't look down.
So they're like bandits robbing someone or something.
Gotta stay out of sight for this one.
Yeah, look, you know, you've got the wrinkles and stuff that are hand drawn on after the fact onto their 3D models.
I'm ready. That's right.
Yeah, so she doesn't feel worthy. Some confidence issues.
Whoa, whoa.
You know, they're setting up a lot of trust in the two here.
You think anyone topside's going hungry?
Topside, okay, so there's obviously a big class divide.
For once, you're right. We are definitely not supposed to be here.
Like a scientist or something. There's like a solar system back there.
That's a nose hair trimmer.
How can anyone have so much stuff?
Simple. Just get born lucky.
Okay, so it does seem like they're addressing like a lot of class issues here. Makes sense. They do a really good job of blending the 2D backgrounds with like the 3D characters and other 3D elements. Oh, it can't have been gone long if there's fresh sandwiches though. Is that chest design like something from a game? Like you find chests a lot in games. I imagine that's something like for the fans of the games. These blue gems, they seem to be important. They were giving off like lightning electricity.
How do we gotta go?
Are they like an energy source or something? But they seem pretty volatile. That looks like it's gonna blow. Yeah, the energy's... Okay, the energy's just surging through everything. It's all falling apart.
Stop right there!
That's cool. The cool bits of technology we're getting to see here. Everything's like super detailed. It's really gorgeous.
We just emptied a Piltover penthouse right under the Enforcer's noses. So, if you're done beating yourselves up, let's get this home.
She still has all of those gems though. They're kind of like ticking time bombs if they get dropped or something. We saw what the explosion of just one did.
How about you share a little taste of your treasure there?
Just a taste?
Just...
Yeah, the Powder isn't really one for fighting. She's quite timid. We've seen that already. You know, the 3D models are really like expressive and fluid. Like when people are getting hit, you can see the models like distorting and stuff. And like the recoil on it as well is really good. You know, there's a lot of like effects as well, like the blurring. There was some chromatic aberration there as well. Fighting dirty a bit. Yeah, you can see when there's like an impact, they put some chromatic aberration on to like really sell the impact.
How that ends?
Yeah, look at all of the 2D work on their face now that they've all been scuffed up a bit. The texturing.
Where's Powder?
Is she still being chased down? Oh, she's making like a little nail bomb or something? It was just like Powder. Is that where she gets her nickname from? She could use one of those blue orbs. The others aren't gonna like that though. Abandoning the hall, basically.
You did what?
I'm sorry.
She jinxes every job.
Jinxes everything.
Who told you?
Okay, so like a real big underground community. Wow. Love the green as well, the aesthetic. Yeah, there's some more like fantasy creature things in here as well.
This isn't what we agreed on, so...
Well, demand for your wares has dropped since we made our arrangements.
Yeah, so like a real seedy underbelly, loads of crime and underground dealings and things going on.
Bit of advice. Don't threaten the guy who pours the drinks.
I recognise his voice.
How about you just give Huck the rest of what you owe him, and I'll let you walk out of here in one piece.
This isn't good though. Building enemies, they might be back for revenge at some point.
Those kids look up to you. You say swim, they dive in. You say light a fire, they show up with oil. Whatever happens, it's on you.
He's the oldest, so she has the most responsibility.
Some idiot was following us. He was after the stuff. We lost it.
Nothing can tie you to what happened up there.
Yeah, no evidence to bring back for them. The blue and pink hair is quite distinctive, though, if anyone saw that.
Then you should know better than to come back from a job empty-handed. I'm gonna have a little word with your informant.
Oh, she kept one of the crystals, okay.
She's a problem.
Milo, I'm really
Do you
not.
remember what was in that bag?
Like, complain about everything.
What?
Yeah, so she only hears the bad bit, but she was actually defending Powder.
Someone was following them.
Whole lot of someone's from what I heard.
Not enforcers. Someone on our side.
Yeah, there's definitely some significance to what, more significance to what they were stealing, you know?
Look,
That shot before looked almost voyeuristic, like someone was watching on. They said there was someone following them, right? But did they just mean Deckard, who they fought earlier?
We're looking for the culprits.
Got a description?
Yeah, it's exactly who you're picturing in that thick head of yours.
You think my head is thick?
Just past the average.
Echo's gonna eavesdrop on them, find out what happened.
Lovely chap you brought.
Yeah, it seems like they know her, so of course there's some corruption with the enforcers, like as you'd expect.
The council needs someone to make an example of.
Vander's not going to end up taking the blame for this and being made an example of, is he?
But I can't offer up my own people.
He could try and frame someone else like Deckard, who we thought wasn't that nice a guy, but I don't think Vander's the type of guy to do that anyway.
What's the point? I ruined everything. I always do.
So she's not going to reveal that she still has one of the gems.
that's where Clagger got his foot stuck running from enforcers. Milo tripped over his own paint bucket and nearly fell off trying to draw a giant middle finger. His ass made that splotch.
You see the handprint?
I used to come out here at night and stare at it. We've all had bad days.
Yeah, that's a good lesson for her to learn. I wonder if that toy will come back up again. Powder gets it down and gives it to Vi or something.
I don't know. Should we show Vander?
No,
Yeah, keep that a secret.
You're stronger than you think.
Does Powder not know that that was what caused the explosion? Okay, so it's not like completely underground. There's a great vista. Oh, there's someone above Deckard, yeah. He's just like a grunt working for someone a bit. There was a really cool shot before, it looked almost fisheye there. A giant fish in the background.
It was their fault. The explosion in the upper city.
Vander's in trouble.
So, of course, setting up a bit bigger villain here. He's like injecting some drug into his eye there. He's trying to get power away from Vander.
Our timeline has moved up.
It's almost ready.
So they're like building different drugs and things, or like trying to find a cure for this villain guy. Is it just like driving him rabid, or yeah, it looks like he's about to attack the cat. Turns whoever takes it extremely violent or something like that.
Subject in mind.
Someone just volunteered.
Okay, so that was episode 1 of Arcane. Of course, it's the first episode, so there's a lot of setup needed to be done here, setting up all of these characters and a bit of world building as well. But it handled this really well. It didn't feel like it was just kind of going through the motions saying, here's this character, here's this character, here's this character. It really does feel like a kind of living, breathing world already, which is really great. The world building here was really good, and the character development already. We're seeing a lot of character tropes, a lot of different character traits here. So Powder and Vi are kind of the main characters here. There was some war or some conflict in the beginning, and that's where Vander kind of takes them under his wing. He becomes their adopted father. Powder is obviously much younger. She's a bit more timid. It seems like she's using these little bombs and weapons. I imagine that's like a holdover from the games. Her character in the games uses a lot of bombs and weapons and things. And then Vi is a lot more melee combat and things like that. So you can kind of see where some of the game influence is coming in here a bit. Powder has some like confidence issues. She doesn't really like to fight. we saw before that she was kind of running away. And then we get name dropped Jinx at one point, so I'm wondering where it goes from there. Like I said, I kind of knew that this was almost like a villain origin story, and we see in the opening that Vi and Powder are fighting. So I'm thinking maybe she kind of embraces this image of her jinxing everything and like embraces the name of jinxing everything. She like comes to terms with everything she does goes wrong, so she ends up just kind of becoming a villain because of that. That could be a potential route that this takes. I don't know exactly yet, but that would be interesting, you know, seeing them fall out and fight. It seems like that's something that is going to happen just from the opening. Really loving the animation here, the 2D and 3D combining. We've seen it before with Into the Spider-Verse and the Mitchells versus the Machines. It's cool seeing how you can do it in different styles as well. It's the same kind of idea and techniques as those movies, but it looks a lot different because this, it seems a little bit more like watercolored, when of course Spider-Verse tried to look like a comic book and Mitchells versus the Machines tried to look kind of handcrafted. This is going for this kind of watercolor look, which looks really cool. You know, we're seeing 3D character models, then 2D backgrounds, but the character models who have the 2D elements kind of painted onto them in the texturing. You can kind of see the wrinkles that are drawn on, and when they had their fight, there's like dirt and things just kind of drawn onto the character model. Is really cool to see. Then some really good world building here. Of course, there's a big class divide. There's the top side that are super rich and, you know, everything's pristine and clean. Then you have the underside where they were, I don't know if I quite got a name for what they called like the poorer area, but it had this kind of green color scheme. Of course, green is a bit dirtier. You kind of associate it with almost like poison and gases and things. Obviously, there's a lot of gases and kind of toxic fumes and things going on there. So the green color scheme, obviously, it sets a good tone. It makes a lot of sense for that to be the color scheme of this kind of like underbelly of the world. But then they were stealing something at the start. I didn't catch the name of who they were stealing it from, but they're obviously very important. They were like scientists and inventors, and there was these little blue crystals. They look like they generate power and generate electricity. I'm wondering if that's a bit of world building on how everything is powered in this universe. You know, these little blue crystals, is that how everyone gets their energy? But it seems like they're very volatile. Powder dropped one and it caused this big explosion, so maybe that's like a technology that they're trying to harness, but it's not quite there yet. We're already kind of seeing a divide between Powder and the others here. They're kind of rejecting her because she's younger, of course, and a bit more timid. And then it seems like Vi might start to hold some resentment because she's getting most of the blame put onto her because she's older. Of course, she harbors more responsibility. She needs to be a bit of a role model for everyone else, so she kind of has the most responsibility if anything goes wrong. But it seems like Vanda was putting a bit of responsibility onto Clayson and Milo as well. And we do see with Vanda, he holds like quite a lot of power in the underground, and we see this villain who's quite pleased that there was something he could use against Vanda. So it seems like there's a bit of a power struggle in the underground happening here. And we see that Vanda, he was working with this enforcer Grayson, so she is like, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, that kind of thing. You know, the enforcers aren't perfect, which is of course what you want to see. You know, a bit of conflict here. The enforcers are like a bit corrupt, but that means they can be manipulated in our favor as well a bit. And of course, Powder and Vi hate the enforcers because it seemed like it was the enforcers that killed her parents whenever that conflict happened at the start. I don't know what that was about. I don't know if we'll kind of delve into that, if there's any history there with their parents. Was there a reason that this conflict had happened? There's a lot of things you can explore with that. This world does feel like, you know, a very well thought out, lived in world already. I'm pretty sure this is like a prequel to the game, so it's not like they're using the world that they've already built. It's like this is a prequel, so they have like some world building already set up from the games, I guess, so they can use some of that. So it does help. They already have this kind of pre-established, quite rich world that they can use for this story, you know? They don't have to worry about coming up with all of this just kind of off the fly. Then we see this villain character at the end who, of course, he wants power. He's trying to get some of this power from Vanda. He's developing this drug. Looks like it causes a lot of rage, and for someone to just lash out, you know, this little mouse took out this cat, flipping the predator and the prey there. And we saw he injected something in his eye as well. I'm wondering if he takes that for some reason. Is that to enhance him? Or does he take that because there's something wrong with him? You know, there's some damage to his face. Maybe that's like keeping him alive. But then he can also use that to like give himself like physical enhancements, which would be a cool concept to see as well. You know, I imagine whatever's happening here, this drug is going to start to be showing up here and there. It's kind of distributed among the underworld, causing problems. And, you know, if he's strategic enough, he can use that to his advantage to take power, maybe giving out this drug, and then it's causing loads of addiction and problems and violence, and then coming up with the solution, the antidote, and then selling that as a way to gain power, you know. So yeah, that was a really great first episode, really setting up the world. It feels really lived in and authentic, and then all the characters so far, some really great characterization with them. I can already kind of see they're going to be great characters down the line. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like or a comment, and of course subscribe so you can keep up to date for all of the future episodes. And if you're interested, check out the Patreon where we'll be a few episodes ahead already. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.